Good afternoon, Namaste, Salam Alaikum. I'm Arun Shrestha, Regional Program Manager for River Basins and Cryosphere Program at ICIMOD. It's a great pleasure for me to welcome you all to this launch program of the report, Inventory of Glacial Lakes and Identifications of Potentially Dangerous Lakes in Koshi, Gandaki, and Karnali River Basins of Nepal, the Tibetan Autonomous Region of China, and India. The report is authored by Samjol Ratna Bhadracharya, Sudan Bikash Maharjan, Pinu Shrestha, Tenzing Chogyal Sherpa, Nisha Wagle, and myself. We are joined by quite a lot of participants today who are from diverse background, government officials, academia, representatives of NGOs and INGOs, media, etc., etc. And they are from Nepal, of course. Quite a lot of them are from Nepal, but there are quite a number of participants from the Hindu Kush Himalaya region, as well as beyond the region from different countries in the world. So again, welcome to us, and we have also quite a lot of media people here, which is quite good. Welcome to this program. The background of this, report and the project will be given later. But what I would like to mention here is that this report was prepared to support the Green Climate Fund project proposal formulated by UNDP Nepal, which is the primary objective of this report. But apart from this primary objective, I'm sure this report will have many, many other uses. I know there are a lot of people actually anxiously waiting for this report to be released. And therefore, this release program is quite, launch program is quite important for us. Now, before starting the program, I would like to mention here that apart from those people who are speaking today and whose names are mentioned in the agenda, there are several people who have supported and made this program possible. So to name them, from UNDP, it is Kamal Raj Sikdel and Richa Ranjitkar for communications, Rashendra Shrestha and Sagun Rai for ICT. And likewise from ICIMOD, Chimi Sheldon and Debrab Sugla supported with communication, Anil Piryani and Neetu Ghale supported with logistics, and Maxim Shrestha supported with media. So with that, I would like to start the technical session in which we have two presentations. One presentation, short one, to give an overview of the project, the context and background. It will be Mr. Deepak Keshi from UNDP. It will be a short presentation, 5 minutes, which will be followed by a detailed sharing of the results of this report by Sudan Bikash Maharjan from ICIMOD. So with that, let me invite Deepak ji to go ahead with your presentation. Deepak ji, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you, Arun sir, for the introduction. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, and namaste. This is Deepak Keshi from UNDP Nepal. I'm trying to give the context of making of this report as a joint initiative of UNDP and ICIMOD. I will try to be very brief. Nepal, as like other countries, is one of the most affected countries because of the climate change. The frequency, intensity, and spatial extent of climate experiment has been increased. Different sectors have been impacted, be it hydro, water resources, agriculture, and so on and so forth. And if you look at the data, according to the Government Ministry of Home Affairs data, Nepal loses 333 lives per year because of this climate extreme events. And to be even more focused, the impacts is more on glaciers and glacier part, particularly on recession of the glaciers and then expansion of the glacier lakes. And to cause that, the average temperature increment has been significant over the past years, and even the Himalaya region has higher temperature increment rate. And that says, even if we try to keep the temperature warming level below 1.5 degrees Celsius, that is not applicable for a mountain region, because that will be more than that. So even if the IPCC AR5 report says that the mass budget of Himalaya glacier has been decreased because of that warming temperature, and it is projected that in 21st century, even this will be continued in its decrement. And with that, if we want to focus in Nepal part, the glacier areas has been decreased by 24% based on 33 years data. To name Imza Glacier and Trakading glaciers, the retreat rate is very high, which I have mentioned in the slides. You can see 40 meters between 1964 to 2018, according to the University of one of the university in Germany recently published the data. And I also had gone through one of the report published in Nature that says that the global glacier lakes, the volume, the numbers, and the area has also been increased significantly. And the impact is the impact we could experience 26 glacier lake outburst floods events in Nepal, mostly originated within Nepal in the upstream part of Nepal, while 11 glacier lake outburst floods originated from Tibetan region. So it's more on transboundary as well in nature. And so with that, we have a lot of casualties and a lot of economic losses, be it from Digzo GLOF in 1985 or the Tampukhari and others. And in the transboundary area, we had a recent GLOF in Bhotekoshi area, devastating the Bhotekoshi hydropower and others. And one of the studies says that if we model the GLOF scenario of Tulagi, the value at risk is in more than 400 million US dollar, which is a huge amount. On that context, when we looked at the Nepal's government priority, government of Nepal has already prioritized this climate risks, particularly on glacier lake risk reductions to save the lives and livelihood. That says the Nepal's constitution, and then NAPA, NDC, and now ENDC in the process, and NAP document. And if we look at this disaster risk reduction policy and action plan, it has clearly mentioned that Nepal has prioritized to lower 7 lakes by 2030, and then early warning system to be settled, to be installed all over Nepal by 2030. So these are some of the priorities, along with National Planning Commission's periodic plans, to in line with Sustainable Development Goal. So with that, UNDP received the request from Government of Nepal to work on this glacier lake outburst flood related second project in GLOF to submit the GCF. As UNDP had its own comparative advantage of having worked in the past in Chorolpa and Imza, and also it is a part of UN Sustainable Development Framework and governments, one of the trusted partner of the governments. In that context, the project will be focusing on Koshi basins, benefiting more than 300,000 people, and DHM will be leading this whole project along with other departments of Ministry of Forest and Environment, like Department of Forest and Soil Conservation and Department of National Park and Wildlife Conservation, along with other institutions, academia, and other departments. So this project will be focused particularly, as said, in the Koshi basin area with GLOF risk reduction measures, monitoring stations, early warning system, and other climate risk management interventions. And we will focus on Gandaki basins, mostly on Tulagi Lakes risk reduction, monitoring station and early warning system, and monitoring stations in the Karnali basins. So in that rationale, when we started working on project formulation, we identified that we need to have the updated data on current status on glaciers, glacier lake, and glaciated basins. We need to have a generated research-based evidences. We also need to update the mapping, hazard assessment of glaciers and glaciers, lakes periodically, because it's a dynamic in nature, and also updated database so that we have a strong proposal to submit the GCF. And as UNDP has been partnering with ICIMOD since long as a trusted and knowledge-based research institutions and working on the climate change area, and have been working across Hindu Kush Himalaya region in this area. We partnered with ICIMOD to fulfill these gaps, and this particular this partnership will come up with analytical assessment of glacier lakes, particularly on its inventory and its critical lakes list, so that project can focus on these lakes. And also ICIMOD also provided us the very recent data to be able to have a dam bridge modeling to prepare the hazard map and risk map in the downstream area. So with this, to conclude, this study will definitely contribute significantly for the to fulfill the knowledge gaps on database, and also it will really help the proposal to have a very good climate rationale and defined theory of change. And we also think that this is a very good resources for wider stakeholders, whoever can use this as a resources. And with this, Nepal will submit the full funding proposal on GLOF risk reduction to GCF in mid-2021. With this, I would like to thank you very much for your attention, and sorry for being a little faster to consider the time. And I will be reached at any time. Thank you so much. Over to you, Dr. Arun.
Thank you very much, Deepakji. Very useful information. Before I hand it over to Sudan, I would just like to inform you that already you might be having questions. So let me inform you how we can put your queries, questions. Chat box, I would request you only to use for technical logistical issues or to greet the participants. But for questions, I would request you to use Q&A box, right? In the middle, you have Q&A box. So content-related questions, please use Q&A box. If you want to direct it to someone particular, you can write their names, also indicate that. Then lastly, when we get to the Q&A session, I will also open this for some direct question and answering using microphone, but that only during the Q&A session. So with that, I would like to hand this over now to Sudan Bikash Maharjan to make the presentation about the report results. Sudan, you have 15 minutes.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Sudan Bikash Maharjan, working in ICIMOD as for Glacier and Glacial Lake monitoring. So here I am going to present most of the key findings of this research work which we have done jointly with UNDP and ICIMOD. So going to the presentation, as we all know, the Hindu Kush Himalaya region is high-rich in natural resources, and glacier is one of them. And these glaciers are feeding number of the countless number of the river to the downstream. And if we look at in the case of the hazard, we can see that there is number of natural disasters which occurs in this region. So for this research that we are basically focusing on the Ganga Basin and Nepal part with three main basins, Koshi, Karnali, and Gandaki. So as we all know, glaciers are very much sensitive to climate change. It has been decreasing due to rise in temperature, and at the same time, the lakes number and area has increases. So with this increasing and expansion of the glacial lake, there is a risk has been also increase of the GLOF. So going to the context of this research, for the glacial lake mapping that we have considered that the all the glacier meltwater dammed by the ice, moraine, or bedrock, or landslide or alluvial fan, which is developed in the glaciated terrain, were considered as a glacier lake. And based on the available satellite images resolution, we have set a threshold of area 0.03 square kilometer. And mostly the lakes were identified above the 3,000 meter elevation. So if we look on these images, what we can see is the lake are situated in the high elevation in the rock terrain and very remote area. So it is quite difficult to do if you have to map the glacier lake by the field base. And so with availability of satellite images and also the new technology and remote sensing, we are very much able to generate the data very quickly. So remote sensing is the best tool for monitoring the glacier lake. Same way for the mapping method. This method we have developed during the 2018 book published for the whole HKS glacier lake monitoring. We use the semi-automatic way with the 97 hypothesis one. At the first, the automatic method is applied, but due to some constraint, I mean that due to high topographic constraint and climatic constraint, some of the lake from the automatically missed. So we have checked thoroughly with the highest images and did some manual correction of it. And once we have a final database, we use the same classification that we have adapted for the whole HKS glacial lake. For this one, we have used Landsat images of 2015 and also checking the Google Earth highest images. And for other parameters like dam condition of the lake and other surrounding feature, we have used the 5-meter DM for the Nepal part, and for the outside of the Nepal part, we use the 12.5-meter DM. So for the classification, this is modified based on 2011 report, and this is modified and published in 2018. So the lakes are classified in 8 classes of it. Coming to the result from the mapping, we have found that 3,600 plus glacial lakes covering 195 square kilometer, in which Nepal consists of 2,017 lakes covering the 85 square kilometer. Looking at the basin level, what we found is Koshi basin contains the large number of glaciers compared to the Gandaki and Karnali. Same way as the different types of the lake, Koshi basin consists of the large number of the moraine dam lake. Also in total, the moraine dam lakes are higher in number. While looking on the size and type of the lakes, Koshi basin has contains the larger lakes than other basin, and also the moraine dam lakes contains the large number of the large lakes than other type of the lakes. So what we think is glacial lakes are larger than 0.02 square kilometer, which is 1,410, are large enough to damage the settlement and infrastructure downstream if they reach out. And the moraine dams are one of the other form of the lakes, which we have identified 2002 glacial lakes. So in altitudinal distribution, we identify the lakes above the 3,400 MSL to up to the 6,100 meter elevation. About among the total lakes, 98% of the lakes we found in between the 4,000 to 600 meter elevation, and we put the highest percentage in 5,000 to 6,000 meter elevation. So I'm coming to the how we're going to apply to identify the potential dangerous glacial lake. So we did a more deterministic kind of approach by step-by-step processes. So we have divided that filtering process into 4 levels. One is level 1 is lake characteristics, level 2 is dam characteristics, level 3 is source glacier characteristics, and level 4 is surrounding characteristics. As you know, the lake water is blocked by the dam, and dam should be sufficient constraint to hold that lake. If that dam is not capable to hold the lake water, then it may freeze out and may damage the downstream. If the dam is also more festival, then it may also affect by the surrounding features, which can deteriorate the dam condition and the lake one. So by using these processes, we have identified the potential dangerous glacial lake. So for this analysis, we included these 22 different parameters categorized into these 4 levels. So lake characteristics, dam characteristics, and dam characteristics we have generated by using the high-resolution images and high-resolution DM, as I mentioned before. And for the source glacier activity also, we use the high-resolution DM as well as the high-resolution images available in Google Earth, and so as for the surrounding physical conditions. So this is the overall step-by-step filtering processes that we have applied. For the lake characteristics, we have filtered by using the lake characteristics like glacial lake less than 0.02 square kilometer and other type except the moraine dam was excluded from the inventory data sets, and what we found is 895 glacier lakes are selected for the further analysis. And these 895 dam lakes are analysis for the dam characteristics. All of the parameter like physical properties of the dam has been generated by looking on the hydrogen images and also using the hydrogen DM. So based on these criteria, we have segregated the 295 lakes for the further analysis. And coming up to for the level 3, we use the lakes which are far away from the glaciers, higher than 200 meters away, and also the slope between the glacier and glacier tongue, as well as we consider the slope of the distance between lake and the glacier. These are used to segregate from the level 2 classification. And on the level 4, we check thoroughly on the satellite images, high resolution available in Google Earth image, and check whether the possibility of snow or ice avalanches or the landslide which may impact on dam as well as lake. So by using this one, we have identified the 47 glacial lakes as a potential dangerous glacial lake. So this table shows the complete summary of the lake in basin wise in different countries, three countries level, as well as in different level of our classification. So altogether what we found is in Nepal we have 21 potential dense lake, whereas in China we have 25 number of potential dense glacial lake and 1 in India. And this was the overall picture of the glacial lake distribution in the 3 basins. As I said, Nepal, China, and India, 21, 25, and 1 potential dense glacial respectively. And also, if you look on the basin-wise distribution, Koshi basin has the highest number of the potential dense glacial lake on it. Same way, once we have generated the potential dense glacial lake, we have also ranked them based on their hazard level. So we have ranked into 1, 2, and 3. Basically, these parameters has been used to categorize or the ranking of this potential dense glacial lake. From this, what we have found is in Nepal, rank 1 lake is 15, whereas in China also we have identified the 15 lake as a rank 1, and in India, 1 lake has been found rank 1. In total, we found 31 lake as a rank 1. Same way in the basin level, we can see 28 lakes in the Koshi basin, 2 lakes in the Gandaki, and in Karnali basin, 1 lake as is categorized as the rank 1. Similarly, you can see rank 2 and rank 3 of those lakes. So at conclusion, what I could say is we have identified 3,624 lakes, out of which 2,070 lakes are in Nepal. These lakes are mostly ranges from 0 congestion 3 to 5. As already mentioned, 47 lakes has been identified potential. In overall, Koshi Basin is the contains the highest number of potential lake. Also, so and formation of the formation of the as a conclusion, formation of the glacial lake and expansion of the existing is a kind of a continuous process. So we have to do it regular monitoring of it. And to do that, remote sensing is the best tool. And for the detailed analysis kind of thing, the high resolution images and digital elevation model is very much necessary. And to do this, some kind of mechanism needs to be developed. And as we already have the rank different level of the hazard identified for the potential, these mostly the high rank one need to be studied in detail in a field. So with saying this, I would like to conclude my presentation here.
Thank you. Thank you both Sudan and Deepak for excellent presentation, really good presentation, and providing a lot of very interesting information. I think the participants have received quite a lot of information here. So again, if you have any queries, questions, use the Q&A box. Okay, we already have some, I can see that, but if you have more, please do not hesitate to put them. Now we are coming to a very exciting moment, and that is the launch of the reports, much awaited moment. And to do this, we have great pleasure of having Madam Aishani Medagakongda Lebe, sorry if I pronounced it wrong, Madam, Resident Representative UNDP, and David Molden, Director General ICIMOD. So to prepare for the launch, Rashendra ji, would you please put the launch page? Yeah, okay, right. So the launch page is there. And now may I request Dr. Molden and Madam Aishani to announce the launch of this report.
So Aishani, shall we do it together?
Sure,
1, 3,
please.
okay. 1, 2, 3. We want to launch this great report.
Thank you.
Thanks, Aishani.
Okay, so right. So now what you see is those two sites, one the ICIMOD side, Himal Doc, and one UNDP side. And if you click any of those two sites, you will get to the report. So Rashendra ji, can you please do that? Yeah, so this is the Himal Doc, and this is the UNDP side, right? So here you go. The report is public. Please have a look at it. Please use it as widely as possible. And if you have any comments, suggestions, anything, please do not hesitate to contact any of us with ICIMOD or UNDP. Thank you so much, David, and thank you so much, Madam Aishani, for launching this. Now, let me invite Dr. David Molden to deliver your remarks on this launching of this report. David, the floor is yours.
Yeah, good. Thank you, Arun. Thanks, participants. Special thanks to Aishani Medagakongda. Nice to see you. Very nice to see you. And yeah, and greetings to all participants from many places. ICIMOD is very proud to be involved, working together with UNDP. We're a regional intergovernmental knowledge center for mountains and people of the Hindu Kush Himalaya across 8 different countries. Of course, Nepal, Bhutan, India, China, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Myanmar, and Bangladesh, and work on numerous topics about livelihoods, environment, And we're also it's very important to us to work on these topics of the cryosphere. And we're a partnership organization, very much enjoy working with UNDP, but also many other organizations whose participants are represented here. Now, about GLOFs, I've been in Nepal now for 9 years, and certainly during my whole time, we've been involved actually with UNDP on GLOFs. But the GLOF risk development was possibly first recognized in the late 1980s based on a JICA study together with the government of Nepal. ICIMOD itself has been involved with GLOF research for several decades. The first inventory of GLOFs was published in 1999 for Nepal, and this was expanded to other mountain regions in the HKH. We've updated this inventory periodically, and this, what you're seeing, is the most recent version. The ones by the way, in 1999 and 2011 are, I think, ICIMOD's most downloaded report. So it is definitely a topic that receives a lot of attention. In 2018, we also did one for 5 basins. And this one for Nepal, although I like it, how it extends from Nepal into the upper catchments in both China and India. For the cryosphere, ICIMOD, one important role is we bring together scientists from different countries to share information and actually have this nice cryosphere knowledge hub that does that. The knowledge hub is a place where we can share data and information. But I think more important than that, it's really the sharing of experience and the sharing of friendship between many people. Also in 2019, the HKH Hindu Kush Himalaya assessment report was published. And actually the cryosphere chapter is the most downloaded chapter, followed by the climate change. So there's a huge interest globally of what's happening to the cryosphere. Our work has created us, our work on GLOFs has helped us create greater awareness, and also on how to mitigate the risk of GLOFs, and the examples there at Solropa and Imja lakes. Now this work, together with UNDP Nepal, was in preparation for a Green Climate Fund proposal. And I sincerely hope that work gets funded because it's much needed to really do something about these dangerous glacier lakes. And by the way, on this report, we've already received a lot of requests. So now please get it. It's ready with this launching. ICIMOD is working more these days on linking cryosphere with society. So what does cryosphere change mean for high mountain communities, and how can we work closer with those communities? What about cryosphere change and hydropower as we're moving forward? And also the huge downstream cities and agricultural systems that rely on these mountain river waters. Where catchments outside of Nepal, I think it's incredibly important to work with different countries on the risk assessment. I think Sudan had some very good statistics, but we have 47 potentially dangerous glacier lakes. 21 are of those, 25 are in China and 21 in Nepal, and a few in India too, I'm sure, if we look closer. And a lot of those on Koshi River. So I think that's the place where we really have to work, and once again, to work across borders with different countries. So thank you all for joining. Congratulations to the authors for putting this together. It's a great piece of work. And Arun, back over to you.
Thank you very much, David. Thank you for being here, launching the report, and also giving these remarks. Definitely your support has been quite instrumental in getting us to this point. Thank you so much. Now it's a great pleasure to invite Madam Leve to place your remark on this very auspicious occasion of launching this very important report. Madam Levi.
Thank you.
Floor is
Thank
yours.
you, Arunji, and good afternoon. Pranam, namaste, namaskar, and assalamu alaikum, because I see a lot of colleagues all over the region are here. So very, immense pleasure, as David mentioned, to be part of the event, and thank you for the opportunity also to say a few words. But coming after three eminent people who are quite aware of the region and the document that they are presenting, I might end up in repeating a little bit what is being said, but I don't want to be like that. But I perhaps would like to remind ourselves last year, 2019, when the Secretary General of the United Nations convened the climate summit, he basically took a commitment, personal commitment, and also on behalf of ourselves who are working for the United Nations, that we will be part of the front line. I think the word front line is nowadays quite a popular word, but this was the front line, and front line for climate, I think, and to be part of that multilateral process, and to be part of every step of that climate action. And also at that point of time, he called all of us to engage in a deeper collaboration. So I think today's event is a result, or at least a sign of that collaboration that we had been speaking about and always had been speaking about here. I'm speaking about the government of Nepal and ICIMOD, UNDP, UNEP, and also with the support of government of Germany. So it's a beautiful collaboration, and I want to thank and congratulate all of us for that collaboration, first of all. Nepal's glacier and glacial lakes, it's part of the World Heritage, and I think the presentation spoke for itself, and also David reminded ourselves. And it's also the source of fresh water. Last week I was attending a ICIMOD webinar with all the 8 country presenters, and it was very interesting to hear about this heritage patrimony and also all the positive benefits that it offers. But also when we listen to Deepak and our colleague from ICIMOD, we heard also about the increasing warm days and decreasing cool nights of the region. And it is about basically melting ice and avalanches or the glacial lake outbursts. This is all about that. But it's all about that because they risk the lives, they risk the habitats, they risk the livelihoods, the jobs, the buildings, the properties, and ultimately nuisance, becoming nuisance for the equilibrium or the balance of the world. So I think that is about it. And I think also Deepak mentioned just one event, how the one event can reverse basically all the gains, development gains, that not only Nepal, but all the countries that are concerned. So this is about that this report is trying to convey this story to us. Last year in the climate summit, all the countries that participated in the climate summit, they took a commitment, including Nepal, that they will do everything they can to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions by 45% by 2030 and to become carbon neutral by 2050. So I think that is something when we speak about melting and melting whatever, the ice or the glacial lakes and the temperatures, we cannot not think about the greenhouse gases. So when we took the commitments, we can't take commitments and not do anything. To make those commitments a reality, we need policies. Policies to reduce greenhouse gases. But when we also listen and to the last year to the climate summit, we know that we have to multiply the policies by threefold if we are to reach the 2 degrees Celsius limit. And if we are to get to the 1.5 Celsius limit, then we have to increase the policies by 5-fold. This is what the scientific committee of the climate action is telling, not me. So just to quote, but policies need informed data, evidence, research. And I think this is where we come into together. And monitoring the GLOF events was part of the risk. Reducing risk is a priority for the government of Nepal, and it is part of the national adaptation program and the action even was passed in 2010. So this is why this study that ICIMOD technically facilitated, we hope will become complementary with others, and will be hopeful that resilience and mitigation adaptation strategies that we UNDP promote will be beneficial for those policies and actions. So we, I think David mentioned our history. Deepak also mentioned it's about, we started the journey in 2016 in Shorolpa or Inja Lake, and we had been working, and we have the intention going forward with 4 more lakes, and hopefully this study will be also useful for us for that baselines. So as the study, as you heard, a lot of technical data. It's about 47 critical glacial lakes in 3 basins. They had been mapped, they had been analyzed, categorized, and ranked and presented. So there are some lakes which are more critical than the others. Probably there is a need to validate the data by going to the field, even with a lot of difficulties. And also there might be need to complement these studies with others. So it is not, I would say, a perfect study that would bring, but it tries to do whatever it can with the research team, highly qualified team, and try to bring that information to us. And most importantly, and I think as David mentioned, it's about, it's really illustrate how, I mean, through these 47 critical glacial lakes, it speaks about 3 countries, 3 parts of the world that need to come together, because this is a question about transboundary issues. So it means that a collaboration between the neighboring countries, it's also an opportunity for collective research, exchanging data, exchanging research, sharing knowledge, and complementing each other. It's a huge, huge opportunity to come together around something which is a common inspiration. It's a climate promise, I think. So we hope that it will be useful, and also that ICIMOD will continue to be with us in this the forthcoming journey towards the rest of the GCF readiness program. And the report comes at the very right time, because the government of Nepal, with all the departments, ministries, including hydrology, Ministry of Forest, Environment, and also the universities, they had been able to finalize I mean, they are currently revising the NDC, Nationally Determined Contributions, and also National Adaptation Plan. They are all working, so it's work in progress, and this will hopefully contribute to that. It also comes at a time that Nepal just finalized their climate policy, and also the National Disaster Risk Reduction Policy and Strategic Plan of Action 2018. So all these different documents hopefully will shape the policies, because ultimately, I think for me, what is important is these policies translate into action in provinces, in Province 1, in Province 3, in Karnali province, and so forth. So that Gandaki province, so that really the action happens at the local level, at the provincial level, so the people understand. Probably we will need to translate this into the local knowledge, local languages, so that people understand how the scientific knowledge is about what they live daily, and they live basically, which has a huge impact on their lives. So with that, and with also the COVID pandemic, everybody is engaged in the health response. The resources will be less and less for climate, less and less for resilience and risk reduction. So we hope that this will appeal the decision makers and our development community partners to understand better, and also to support the work that the research and development is doing in the world, including Nepal, so that our decision making is evidence-based and data-based, and that we go forward with legitimacy for the climate action. I would like to finish by once again thanking ICIMOD and also our colleagues from UNEP and German government of Germany, because they are part of the previous project through which that we funded this program. And last but not least, all the departments and sections of the government of Nepal. We hope that who will continue to work with us, and invite all the people to click in and read the report and to comment and give anything that you find that need to be revised, because 2018, 2020, it's a journey. And if there is anything that we need to take into consideration going forward, we remain open and listening to you for your good advice. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your remarks, Madam Lebe. I think quite a lot of very important points, but two things I noted. One is that it is not perfect, which means, you know, in 2 days, we might have new technology, new information, and we're living in such a dynamic environment. It cannot remain, you know, the same. So we need to update this, you know, time and again, periodically. And second, you know, the report is as good as it is used, you know, the use it actually relates to. I think that's very important, and really we would like to turn it into something very useful action. Thank you so much for that. So now we have come to the Q&A session. So what I would like to do now is we have collected a few questions from the Q&A box, and that we'll be using for this interaction. But if anyone wants to, you know, interact directly, there is also a possibility we'll be, you know, intermittently doing that. So if you are really wanting to use the microphone to ask a quick question, very short, that's possible. But for that you will need to use the hand raise function. Please raise your hand, and then we'll allow you to use the microphone, and you can do that. Okay. So now. David and Aishani, please stay with us. There might be questions for you as well. But then I see from the question box, there are quite a lot to the technical presentation, mainly to Sudan, I think, right? So I will try to handle those. If I not get to each and every of those, then still we can do it later on through, you know, email. So please, Sudan and Deepakji, please stay ready for the questions. Okay, I will kind of give you like 2 or 3 questions, and then you can, you know, in a batch, and then you can answer to those, right? So here it goes. The first one, the question is, you know, in the report, Sudan, you mentioned that there are more glacial lakes in Koshi Basin. So Ramesh ji asks, why? What could be the reason, right? And then was there any engagement with government agencies in those countries, right? I guess that's a different one. Please try to you know, answer this. If not, then I could also ask others to look at it, right? Okay, please note that down. I'm going to the second one, and after third, maybe I would request you to answer it. Are all the lakes above 3,000 meter elevation? And then how did you determine the bedrock dam lakes from remote sensing, right? From remote sensing, how did you determine the bedrock dam lakes, I guess? And that is question coming from Nitesh. There are more, but I would like to remain at those 2. Then there is another question about the data. Right, you said that you have used 2015 Landsat data. The question is why 2015? Why not more recent? And there are different kinds of data sets available. For example, Sentinel data. What is the reason that you try to stick to 2015 Landsat data? So I guess that's for the first round. And I guess most of them are related to the technical aspects. So maybe Sudan, you could try to answer them.
So the first question is regarding why the glacial lakes are more in the Koshi Basin. Yes. So on this, as we have also worked on the glacier, what we have found is glacier is highly concentrated in the Koshi Basin compared to the other 2 basins. And also we can see there are more debris covered glacier is concentrated in the Koshi Basin. It could be due to the geology or and climatic factor because the different climate we can observe in Western Nepal and Eastern Nepal. So Glacier Lake is the product of byproduct from the glacier. If the glacier melt out and there is some erosional landforms and forms a lowland, and there the glacial melt water store on it and forms the glacial lake. Same way, if we see the lot of debris cover underneath, which is the ice, if the ice melt out and the lake is formed. So I think that's why in the Koshi basin, if you look, the more lake is forming in that way. So and on second one, I would like to some pass with Deepak ji as well, because this is one of the collaborative kind of thing about the government part, yes. So on using this report and sharing, some level of discussion was done with the government agencies as well. And also this result was shared with them before as well. And on another third one is what we is that how we identify the bedrock dam lake. Yes, for classifying the lakes, we use the high resolution images. Although we map from the Landsat images, we use the Google Earth images as a images to classify those lakes. So based on checking on the morphological features in the high resolution images, we can easily identify the lakes which is formed far away or the close to the glacier where terrain is found by the glacier erosion. So by looking on these high resolution one morphological characteristics of this one, we have categorized as a bedrock dam lake. Although yes, some of the bedrock dam lake consist of thin layer of the debris deposited by those glaciers as well. And fourth one is, I think, the data of 2005, and it's about why we don't use the latest information, including different other high resolution satellite images. Yes. So if on that, as we have started this research on 2018 jointly with UNDP, and we are preparing the database of the glacier and glacial lake at the decadal level interval and at a different time interval. So to make a consistent time interval, we have selected 2015 as the data source of it. And we have used the Landsat. Yes, if you look on historical data sets that we have, one is the Landsat images have a long history of the images. So for the consistent data source, to minimize the error using the different spatial resolution of different time data set, we have used the Landsat as a main consistent source to see the changes on the lake. And we also check on the high resolution images to verify like some of the lake which is difficult to identify due to the shadow formed by the high terrain on the mountain region. So those lakes were incorporated by checking the other Landsat images and as well as the checking the Google images. So I think I have covered all this.
Yeah, Sudan, I think so. Thank you so much. I think you have covered it very nicely. So going back to the question related to, the engagement with government agencies in these countries, right? So it is not only about Nepal, but the different countries which are related. So maybe Deepakji, you could, respond to this.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. I would be precise. Basically, within the countries, within country Nepal, this study has been quite well discussed with the government agencies, as the technical advisory committee for this year project formulation itself is led by DHM, and right from the TUR making stage, this has been discussed well, and the draft report has been reviewed. And on top of that, Ministry of Finance is the lead of that GCF support program in a nutshell. So within countries, we have done pretty much good consultations to come up with their feedback and reviews. For other countries, basically this is as a HKH region, ICIMOD's expertise and the wider areas. During the entire process, this is considered to be, taken consulted with the neighboring countries. Basically, the data were also referred from Tibetan Autonomous Region, from China, and institution like Chinese institution have been quite like being ICIMOD or part of a whole entire region. It is made sure that this has been discussed. Thank you. Over to Arun ji.
Thank you, Deepak ji. Yeah, with about interactions with maybe China, I don't know, David, would you like to make some comment about our interactions with China, if you're there?
Yeah, thanks, thanks, Arun. ICIMOD has a very good partnership with the Chinese Academy of Science and the Institute of Mountain Hazards and Environment, and they have been, working on these glacier lakes as well in the past. So I think they're a technical agency, but I think there's also an important role in getting the government to government working together. Arun, you might also put in a few points on that as well. But it has been interesting working on both sides of the border.
Yes, thank you, David. Yes, and we are also currently working with China to establish a new program on, transboundary risk assessment, including GLOF. And that might lead to also transboundary early warning at some point, not soon, but at some point. So thank you. So let me go to the second round of questions, which were posted on the Q&A box. I don't know, I have not seen hand raised, so I guess nobody has raised hand, but they're feeling comfortable with. Okay, I can see Samjul Bajracharya has raised hand. So let me start. He is one of the authors. So Rashendra ji, if you could give the microphone to Samjul ji. Samjul ji, please. It's nice to see you. You are the main author of this report, so definitely it would be interesting to hear a short remark from you, whatever you want to say. Thanks. And then I'll go to the questions posted on the Q&A box.
Yeah, I am Samjul Bajracharya. Regarding the question to Sudan ji about the identification of bedrock or debris cover and the image which we had used to identify the lakes, the image of 2015 to 2018. That means 2015, 16, 17, and 18, the latest one. We had used that one. So far, who has visited in the field to see the bedrock or debris cover? That means those who have knowledge about the bedrock and the debris cover. Same reflection we can see in the image as well. If the images are high resolution, we can identify whether it is bedrock or debris cover. However, in the bedrock also, there might be thin debris cover, that is less than 1 meter. Less than 1 meter debris cover is also we had considered as a bedrock dam. That is one I want to clarify. And the data we had used mostly the satellite image, that is the high resolution, not only the Landsat, we had used other as well, those which are freely available in the internet. So one thing, if we are going to publish our digital data shape file, that means the boundary of lake, if you have that type of lake and the satellite image you can download from the internet free of cost. So you can verify the boundary of the lake by your own analysis. And if you got the image in future, the latest one, then you can overlay on that image and you can find the changes. Whatever we have done, that one is the one-time data. And it is based on 2015 to 2018. Now it is already mid of 2020. So if you want to do any analysis, get the data from ICIMOD and overlay those shape file or the boundary of the lake on the new image, then you can find the change. You can find the change. That means you can do the analysis by your own. That will be very much helpful for the analysis.
Thank you. Thank you,
Is it okay,
Samdar. That was very good. Yeah, yeah, great. That was great, clarification. Thank you very much, and thanks to be with us. Really nice to hear from you, Samdar. There is one more hand raised, Rashendra ji. It's Abdullah Khan. Mr. Khan, please, the mic will be handed over to you. Please introduce yourself very briefly, very short, and then put your question very concisely. Okay. Thank you so much. Please go ahead.
My question is, the report mentioned that Tibet have also many glacier lakes categorized as potentially dangerous, but why the report has not included picture of TR? Was there any security restriction to capture those pictures? Thank you very much.
Picture of TR glaciers?
Yeah, glacier.
Okay, okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Let me go to other questions. So there one or two more. So the next is, did the methodology involve field verification for risk assessment? Right. Then maybe one more, and that was question from Kamindra Dahalji. And then there is one more, how far these potentially dangerous glacier lakes are from human settlements, right? This is from Mr. Babar Khan, Dr. Babar Khan. I think he is from Pakistan, where the settlements are very close. So he would like to know how far are the settlements from the lakes. So maybe Sudan, you would like to take first, and Dibakji, if you want to answer any of those, you are also welcome to do that. Sudan.
On the first question, it's about the glacier boundary, or I think as mentioned in the map, we are basically focused on the lake. So, but you can see.
I think about the pictures. I think in the report there are some pictures from Nepal. Why there are no pictures from Tibetan Autonomous River? Is it for security or something?
Okay. For that, as the most of the picture generally we have taken by ourselves, some from the UNDP side and some from our field visit photographs. So as far now, we did not get any picture from the Tibetan side, and we did not visit it over in there. So we are basically focusing on the lake. So mostly the potential dangerous glacial lakes. Those pictures have been included in this report as far as possible. Yeah, I think this one. And second one, sorry, I just sir, can you please repeat the second one? What I just missed that one.
The second one was, how far are those lakes from settlements? Roughly, they are different, but roughly how far are those from, let's say, the first settlement downstream?
Yeah, looking at it's depend on the different condition in different valleys close to the lake. Some of the lakes are very close to, some of the settlement are very close to this potential dangerous glacial lake, like 2-3 kilometers. As for the example, last year we have visited the Chorolpa. There we can see within a 2 kilometer we can find the settlement over there. So it's depend on the morphological condition, as well as if the valley is very good for the settlement and agriculture kind of perfect, the settlement will be very close. And mostly we can see from the river, we can see 10 kilometers to 25 kilometers. There are a number of the settlements we can find. as well as a number of development activities is going on those valleys. So I would say that this kind of information is not considered till now to develop those kind of different settlements along those high risk river, and also the number of the hydropower has been going to develop and still is going on. So these kind of lakes also need also provide the good information for this kind of development in the country. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Sudan. Deepakji, would you like to respond to any of those?
I think he already did that. As regarding the photos, as Sudanji mentioned, we particularly use our own photos during this last 2 years photos. So it was not possible to be in Tibet and get some photos from Tibet. So we tried to put our own photos, and so hence we missed those photos. But the graphics, I guess what we have is an annex has those conditions of the lakes in graphic way. And regarding the settlements, we also did some assessment from basically 4 glacier lakes. And when we see 0 to 25 kilometers downstream, the population density is low compared to 25 to 50, and the highest is 50 kilometers to 100 kilometers is the highest population density. But it depends on the lake. When we talk about Tulagi, one of the lake called Dona Lake, the immediate settlements in Dharapani and Tal, which is far away from the lake origin. But it may not be the case in others, like in case of Lower Barun, we have like the settlement in Yangri in little downstreams, so and so forth. So it depends, but in nutshell, the population density from 0 to 25 kilometers is compared to less, while little below is more because of its difficult terrains and you know, life is very difficult. Thank you. Over to Arunji.
Thank you. Let me go to yet another round. Thank you so much for the answers and the questions also. If you and if anyone wants to speak on the microphone, please, again, you have the opportunity to raise your hand and do that. We'll be keeping watch of this. So let me go to the next question. What will be done by ICIMOD and UNDP in terms of next steps to decrease GLOF impacts? Right, so maybe David, you could also start with that from ICIMOD side, and Deepakji, maybe you could also add on to that. Then there is one question on, do you have any program for field verification of potentially dangerous glacial lakes in coming days? So again, Deepakji and Sudan, maybe you would like to keep that in mind. How will this research study findings be disseminated and translated to communities? I think we are already doing that quite a lot, right, for this particular project, and there is a lot of intention to do that. So Deepakji, from a project perspective, I think you could highlight this, and I could also add a little bit towards the end what we are doing from ICIMOD side. I think that's from Kamala Guru, I guess she's from ICIMOD, so I'll also try to add a little bit on this. So thank you to answer that. Maybe David, would you like to go ahead?
Yeah, just first, I mean, certainly the report has raised the warning flag that the potentially dangerous glacier lakes. So we just have to do, and not just ICIMOD, but everybody has to really work on these things. I think ICIMOD's role is very much the research, the piloting, early warning systems, the knowledge sharing, and certainly we'll continue to do that, as well as connecting with communities. So I think it's really, really important that we do interact lots and lots with the communities in this area. But having said that, there's a lot of, it's a huge work required, and a lot of the mitigation measures are quite expensive, and that's why this funding, say, from Green Climate Fund mitigation works. But I think certainly ICIMOD and organizations like us will want to provide ICIMOD will definitely want to stay engaged And
Yeah,
back over
thank
to
you.
you.
Thank you.
I hope you didn't
Thank
miss
you.
too much. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, David. Deepakji?
Yeah, to be very brief, as I mentioned in the beginning of the presentations, that we are also supporting government of Nepal, and in the government of Nepal has already targeted to reduce 7 glacier lakes by 2030 in the plan. So as per our past experiences in Nepal, we are targeting 4 glacier lakes to be reduced to submit in the GCF proposal. So our next actions would be on that particular line, and whole proposals that we are working on is towards that directions. And as far as the field verification is concerned, under that particular proposals, it's all about supporting entire cryosphere studies, supporting government of Nepal to strengthen this capacity on glacier lake monitoring and analysis and other related areas where we need to improve on. So that part also would be covered, be a part of this whole field verification areas. And as far as linking with provinces and the community is concerned, one of the questions I saw also in provinces, so I wanted to link there. 7 provinces are working on this disaster risk reduction strategy and action plan. And we provided our inputs on province number 1, 3, and 2 for being very much, I know the Koshi Basin being very kind of hot spots. We provided our inputs to put this particular risks in their plan so that the mitigation can be started in a collaborative way with province and the local agency. So this is what we are trying, and hopefully, as I mentioned, I requested, this is for the project proposal formulations, and our direction will be towards risk reduction based on our past experiences in IMSA and Shoralpa. Thank you. Over to you, Arunji.
Yeah, thank you, Deepakji. Sudan, would you like to add on to what Deepakji said, particularly on the field verification? You know, why is it important, and whether we are planning to do in addition to what Deepakji mentioned?
Sure, sir. As I have already said in the presentation, even we have identified the high risk lake from the remote sensing based, and we need to do the risk mitigation of it. So these high potential dangerous glacial lakes need to be thoroughly analyzed by the field study. So regarding this one, we have also did some of the lake investigation in the field. As for example, Sorolpa, we have visited last year and did a detailed analysis, like all kind of morphological of the dam, lake, as well as the surrounding features. Also downstream area, we have did some investigation over those areas. As well as this year also, we have planned to do in the lower Peru, but due to this COVID situation, we cannot visit it there. Hopefully, we will do in the next year. If we can visit by this year, then that will be also a good one. And I have also seen some questions regarding the earthquake, probably after the earthquake, what is the cases. So I also want to link those one with the field verification. We have, while we visited the last year in the field, we have noticed there is some cracks has been developed in the dam, which is now settled down, and some traces is there. During the earthquake time also, we have continuously monitoring these high risk for dangerous glacial lakes. So I would say field verification is very much necessary before we going for mitigation, and also to verify our data.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think that was excellent. But on the questions from Kamala Gurung about how will this research findings disseminated, I think Deepakji has definitely answered quite a lot. But I'm sure you are aware that now in ICIMOD we are also talking more and more about cryosphere and society. David talked about it. Last year we organized a big conference, international conference under the same theme, which means that, cryosphere science cannot remain at science level. It has to be really go beyond the physical science. It has to go to the users, to the society. So that's what has been the thrust now. Amina Maharjan, Dr. Amina Maharjan was with us earlier. I don't know if she's there. She's leading this, at least the initial stage of, linking the cryosphere headers with people in different part of the region, Nepal included, Bhutan, India, China, Pakistan, etc. So that is there. So yes, I think, and also linking with infrastructure, hydropower, it has been also our focus in recent years, which is very important. I think we are getting a little bit close to the end. I do not see many questions now. I mean, of course they are, but I think let me see what else. Highlight transboundary issues and approaches required in the 3 basins to address the issues from Kriti Shrestha. I think that was, addressed to quite some extent by David and others, I think. But then I think I agree with you. It is a very important issue. The very number of potential dangerous lake, 25 in Tibetan autonomous region and 21 in Nepal, clearly shows that without transboundary kind of arrangement, the risk reduction efforts might not be fully effective. So that approach has to be there, and we are putting certain efforts on that. David mentioned about our discussion for a new project where we will be using this report as a basis, stepping stone, and using that we will be further developing the risk assessment method. As Sudan mentioned, it will include also field visits both in Nepal and Tibetan part of the basins by joint team, so that they can do study here and we can do study there. So it will give a comprehensive understanding of the risk, and then with that we can also then move on to the measures to reduce the risk. So that is the plan, and let's hope it materializes, right? So thank you for that. I think a lot of people have been asking, not a lot, at least a couple have asked, about one particular lake. And Sudan, I don't know if you want to answer that or not. It's the Koshi Lake, which is in, I think, Kaski district, or in that vicinity, in the headwaters of Madi River, which is at an elevation around 2,500. So the question is, why only above 3,000 meters? Koshi Lake, isn't that a glacial lake? I think it's a very technical question, but since it has been asked by people, maybe you would like to answer that.
Sure, sir. Koshi Lake, yeah, we have also identified and mapped the lake in this report, and yeah, we have also mapped the Koshi Lake, and it's above the 2,400 meter elevation, and we categorize them as other dam lake, as this lake was formed due to the ice flow down to the valley in the Sunkoshi, and those ice was melted and formed the bigger lake. So we consider those as others lake, as it is not directly formed due to the glacier or glacial erosion part. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Now I think we go to the last one. There is one question to David. David, please be ready. It's not about GLOF, and I really wanted to take it. It says, could you shed some light on the impact of current pandemic on? Okay, so I think under this COVID situation, how are we reaching the community? I guess that's the that's what is asked.
Thank you, and I hope you hear me. But last week we had a webinar. We released another report on the impact of COVID-19 in the HKH mountains. So what we basically see that, it's, yes, it's a health crisis, but it's also very much an livelihood crisis as well. So the impacts are on food security, unemployment, on returning migrants. And I think what, who are now, again, at risk from environmental hazards like GLOFs. So just to keep, I invite you to look at that report, the COVID impacts on the mountains. And I think some of the important findings were moving ahead, we need to have a recovery, say when we get jobs that promotes clean energy so that we can also fight climate change at the same time. But one thing, it has been difficult to reach out to communities, but certainly we've been able to use online ways to do that as well, and actually have some good inspiring stories about working with communities in spite of this mode. Thanks, Arun.
Yeah, I think that was clear. Thank you, David. I think that satisfies the question also, those person who asked it. Thank you so much for asking. So thank you, David. Thank you, Madam Leve, for being with us, launching this, and also, giving very nice remark. Thanks to Deepak ji and Sudan ji for, nice presentation, and also, respond to all those interesting and important questions. So we'll end the Q&A session. We are a little bit behind the schedule. They were so interesting and very, useful questions. So I didn't want to hold them, and that's the purpose of today, is to, kind of interact. So apologize for being a little bit late. So now we have come to the last point of the agenda, which is, closing remarks and vote of thanks. And for that, it's my pleasure to invite Mr. Vijay Singh, who is Assistant Resident Representative from UNDP. Vijayji, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Arunji, for excellent moderation of the session. Thank you, everyone who has been participating to this great launch. It was a great event. I think it was a culmination of the long efforts that ICIMOD and UNDP put together for the study of the Glacial Lake Inventory, and come up with a report of the latest inventory. Also the categorization of the lakes along the lines of their potential, the potential for being danger to the communities. I think more than 200 people participated in the launch from the different backgrounds. I see that the people from the government, the non-government, the academicians, the policymakers, international organizations, the researchers, the practitioners. I think it was a great participation, and I want to thank everyone. This also shows your own commitment to the issues and how interested you are to learn the new knowledge that has been built. I think the report and the study has been contributed by several people, and I want to thank everyone again here. Though in the report itself, you see under the acknowledgement section, everybody has been accredited for that. But I just want to thank Samuelji, who was the lead researcher as well as the lead author when we started this work back in 2016 in ICIMOD, and his colleagues Sudanji and all others. I think a special thanks goes to David Morgan. I remember the first time when we met with you a long back with the UNDP team to discuss with you about a collaboration for doing a Glacial Lake Inventory. And the journey started from there. So I'm very happy that you were able to do the launch as well. And thank you for very excellent messages. Thanks to ICIMOD as well. I think you have always been encouraging for having the evidence, to generating the evidence that could help us in design of the strategies and all that. And I'm very thankful that you could make your time to come over here. Thank to the presenters. Thank you, Deepak from UNDP, as well as Sudanji from ICIMOD. Deepak, for you nicely set the context, bring the background in the forefront today. So that was excellently done. And thank you, Sudanji, for making a very detailed and technical presentation. It was very clear. I'm also thankful to all those who actively participated in the question and answer session. Very valid questions were raised. I appreciate again the team, the research team, as well as from UNDP side, Deepak, answering all the questions. What we hear from the question answer, and what we hear from the speakers for today, from David and ICIMOD, I think that indicate towards the next step. You mentioned that what is going to be, or how we are going to take forward the information that is coming out of this research work. Yeah, we have made a plan for that. So the research was going to be rightly used. We are just trying to formulate a project that will be the second glacial lake outburst flood project for UNDP, and we are covering 4 glacial lakes. And this inventory and the data that is coming out of that has been widely used. It's not only the data, but also the larger, wider collaboration that we have with ICIMOD has helped us to define the context of changing climate, as well as the theory of change that we put there. That is one, but another offshoot of this study, I think we also use this study, the findings of this study, to train the Nepalese professional on dam bridge modeling. So I think that is the origin also comes from this, though it is not part of the study itself, but the different categories of lakes that came out of the study. We've going to the further analysis of that to put into the proposal. We wanted to see the impact of the bridging and how it is going to impact the downstream. So we also did that. And together with the DHM, together with ICIMOD, we trained a group of people onto that. So I think that is another very wise use of this. I think I also want to thank the DHM and the government of Nepal for being very supportive to this study from the beginning, because as Deepak mentioned, the government of Nepal, particularly the Ministry of Finance, being the NTA for the ZEF, or GCF, but as well as all other government agencies, the Ministry of Forest and Environment, and other colleagues, particularly the DHM, has been very, very supportive for this study, as well as the entire project framework that we are trying to put together. So special thanks to the government of Nepal. I think this report has created another body of knowledge particularly when you look at the impact of the glacial lakes. And I think we need to have regular debates, and such kind of studies will be really useful in future as well to understand how the glacial landscape is changing very fast, and how the downstream conditions are also changing because of new settlements, new infrastructure being put there is also changing the risk profile. So I think that this kind of a study would be needed in future as well. And I just want to conclude by saying that, as I mentioned, this report has to reach to the people. So we may need to think of how we can simplify the messages and give this message to the people so that they can understand. Also, we need to engage with the provincial governments to make them also understand about the risks, particularly the glacial risks, not in all provinces, but those who are much more, those who are having those lakes in their territory. But in general, in overall climate agenda, how we can educate them, how we can help them in planning, mitigating the risk and all that. So with this, thank you again for everyone for participating. Great participation, great event. I think it was very, very useful for everyone. Thank you, Arun, for making a very wonderful moderation for that. With this, I would like to conclude the event. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bijayji, and the role you played from the very beginning also has been very important, particularly bridging, UNDP and ICIMOD. Without that, I think we would not have reached yet. So thank you also for the role you have played, very instrumental role. Thank you. Yeah, so that brings us to the end of the program. Thank you all for joining. It was indeed very interesting, useful, and interactive. So let me again thank you everyone and wish you a very good day, remaining part of the day, and also stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you very much.